So here's my thoughts on Zen. I think it's a token, that's modeled a little bit after Hex. Um, they tried to latch onto the Hex community as a bootstrap. At the end of the day, it's blockchain spam. It's going to be dominated by bots. 8 years is a long time. Doesn't matter how many people own Zen. I think the community will kind of top out, and then a whole bunch of people will own like a shit coin, like kind of like Dogecoin. But the difference is that in this case, the miners are basically bots, and it's pretty cheap. It requires zero economic energy to run these bot farms. And so what will ultimately happen is no matter how much liquidity you throw at Zen, it'll immediately get soaken up by the bots. The bots will be able to dump their tokens with the bot army will be able to dump their tokens with impunity onto the network, and the network will never be able to accrue value. What does this mean? We already know what this means in the cash flow for all society, which is basically spearheaded by elephant money, but also other derivatives of bankroll flow and drip. We know what this means. Inflationary tokens are the devil. Inflationary tokens are killers of liquidity. And what is liquidity? Liquidity can simply be looked at as the balance sheet for your bank, for your community bank, or your VC-led bank, right? So no one who understands math will put their hard-earned money into liquidity in the late rounds of Zen. In the early rounds of Zen, using liquidity is a tool to get more tokens. But ultimately, any large initiative to raise liquidity will get dumped on. Even in our tax-free holiday, we're suffering the price of having our liquidity unprotected and having people be able to dump in arbitrage from our BUSD and BNB pools to the BuySwap pool. We're seeing that right now in real time. So that's why we have taxes, to protect the liquidity. It means that people pay going in and people pay going out. And because of that, mathematically, the protocol is stronger for the people who stay. Zen has no such protections for their liquidity. So inherently, we can say for a public bank or public store of value that that's a flaw. It's one of the reasons why Bitcoin also doesn't reward holders. There's no safeguards on the value of Bitcoin. As a matter of fact, the value of Bitcoin is only what the next person will pay. We have hard backstops in elephant money. So in the end, Zen is nothing more than what we saw in 2018, where protocols were released and it would basically be a gas war. But in this case, it's a gas war with no true economic incentive at the end. People can say, oh, well, it's going to cost more to mint and this and that. The tokens that originate, right? The tokens that originate come from people who mint. That's the only source of the tokens. So bots will also always have an advantage. And for ETH-rich bot farmers, they can still make money. And they can gain an advantage early on in liquidity, and they can use that early liquidity to always be able to dump on your heads. So yeah, in this case, sellers get wrecked, or actually sellers don't get wrecked. They extract value at all times in Xen. So what's my recommendation for Xen? I'm playing with it. I have 71 million tokens on BSC, and I have 13 million and counting on Ethereum. And I spent maybe $2,000 to get that early advantage. And I can tell you right now that that's probably $2,000 wasted. What's my takeaway? Buy more elephant, take advantage of the buy swap tax-free holiday, where you'll be able to earn liquidity rewards that are over 10% right now, and also be able to farm, where you can earn an additional 20% on your liquidity to great effect. All right, guys, enjoy.